In the small stretch of land on the left-hand side of your screen is where this bit of retail history begins. We have to go back, 85 years to be exact. The ending to this defined moment of time is so ironic, it's almost funny in a twisted way. Intertwined with Hollywood culture, this bit of land has held its spot for not only entertaining the casual shopper, but the imagination of the casual moviegoer. In the 1930s, the San Fernando Valley was mainly farmland, populated with hard-working farmers who struggled through this decade of depression. Hit hard by this, the city found a way to ease the minds of the hard-working populace, and the need for entertainment was imminent. With sporadic little towns beginning to pop up here and there, the idea of a future began churning in the minds of businessmen. Thanks to the ingenious idea of Richard Hollingshead and the beautiful design of Clifford A. Balch, something that would define this intersection until this very moment was built for the city. The first drive-in movie theater in California, Pico Drive-In Theater, also known as Pacific Drive-In Theaters.
The gates opened on September 9th, 1934. The first film to be projected was Will Rogers and Handy and Andy. In 1947, the drive-in theater was closed, eventually moving locations, but history wasn't done with this plot of land. In 1948, Pickwick Theater would be resurrected, which was a beautiful mid-century movie palace. This theater was meant to house movie premieres and did so during the golden age of Hollywood. Pickwick survived 4 decades until it was demolished in 1990. Eventually, the entire block was demolished, including a bowling alley, a bank, and a video arcade. Across the street was a walking outdoor strip mall, which would also be torn down, all to clear way for a new vision, the Westside Pavilion Mall. That took a long time. Welcome. I'm on the east side, lower parking lot, and this is what's left of Macy's, which is just a furniture department. Here's the first floor of the Westside Pavilion. These properties on both sides of the street, the bridge that crosses it to the theater, which you'll see in the video, are both being taken over by Hudson Pacific Properties. Google has a 14-year lease on the mall, and they're turning it into some type of corporate working center. It's kind of sad. You can see how empty the mall is. There's only a few people pass by me as I'm walking through. Sorry for the shaky footage and the low resolution. I've been updating my camera and my computer system so that I can start pumping videos out faster. So I'll leave you with that. I'll come in here and there, drop some facts on the mall. Walking through this place is very blissful. It's heavenly with the light that comes through. The acoustics kind of muffle in the center of the mall, and you'll hear that later in the video as the music fades. So enjoy. The long glass skylight in this mall is kind of reminiscent of York Galleria. There's a video on that. Shout out to Jack Thomas, deadmalls.com. One of my favorite channels. One of the OGs of the dead mall movement. They black curtained a lot of the stores because of this very reason, probably. There was a security guard in here that I had to kind of avoid, walk a little bit faster. He saw me when I first came in, but he kind of disappeared after a while. I don't know what store this was, but it was very modern. The Westside Pavilion was opened in 1985. With that came an uproar from the local neighborhoods about parking issues. They thought that a flood of new customers would crowd their local streets. So the city decided to resurrect a huge parking structure in order to take care of this problem. This parking structure is massive. There's 2 of them on each side, the east side and the west side. Walking through the back corridors of these malls always reminds me of Terminator 2 when Arnie comes in and blasts the T-1000. Shout out to this old payphone. We saw this guy earlier. He was doing some type of stretching and yoga movements. Very interesting. It was kind of cool in a very odd way. Here's another example of the black curtains they put in front of the stores. And here's an escalator that's been closed down. They were doing this a lot. There was a lot of closed escalators, showing signs of maintenance issues and possible prep for the shutdown of this mall. You can see right here how dirty the glass plates are on the roof. I think they just stopped cleaning them at one point, knowing the future of this mall. In a second here, we're going to be approaching the west side of the mall where Nordstrom's was. Check out the sounds when I enter this corridor. This was once Nordstrom's, and they walled it off, and it was some type of very weird heavens waiting room type of vibe. Those are all the real sounds when I was walking through. We're now walking across the bridge which connects the mall to the theater. There's a little sitting area here where people are on their laptops and phones and reading. It's kind of cool. Very peaceful. This store that's closing was once a Barnes & Noble's, and then it turned into an urban home, and that was closing down as I was walking through the mall. There's the bridge I just crossed over. There's one of the west side fronts of the mall. In a minute here, you're going to see how packed the theater is. It's the most busy part of my walkthrough. I don't know if when Google comes in, if they're going to keep the theater, if they're going to tear it down. I have no idea. I think they would keep it and hopefully keep it open to the public. I'm assuming they're going to have a bunch of restaurants down here and then business space on top, something like that. Very fancy technology right here. Right now we're looking over Pico Boulevard. This is to the west where the ocean is. And now we're looking towards the east. You're going to see Century City and the Die Hard building right there standing alone. Now we're going to be heading back through the bridge, back to the mall. The escalators cascade like stairways from the clouds, one by one shutting down. A reminder that this place is no longer working. This beautiful mall, lit by the sun, on its last light of life, with barely anybody in it. I'm thankful for the experience. This is the roof of the bridge, which once was a passageway to the second parking lot. They chained it off. As I make my way out, I can't help but love the view, the 360 view of Southern California, the West Side. I came back to visit the mall about 3 months later. It sits closed with its lights still on, but the parking structure was still open. I sat there for hours, looking through the windows at an empty space. This place brings up echoes of a time that is long past. The rooftop parking lot felt like a dream as this huge cloud hovered over the glass roof. This mall is on its last cell of life, flickering like a battery under the night sky as it dims into its memories.
Westside. It is a $400 billion office campus that's supposed to open in 2022. Now, Google has signed a lease to take over the Westside Pavilion Mall, which has been failing.
It's a good-looking building with all kinds of light, right?
And in a few years, it'll look like this. It'll serve as a creative office campus for Google, known as One Westside. The tech giant signed a 14-year lease on the nearly 600,000 square foot property. Mayor Eric Garcetti calls it a great advancement for the city.